Hi, my name is George Best, and I'm the Restorative Practices Programme Coordinator with the Childhood Development Initiative, or CDI. Think about the last disagreement you had with your child. Maybe it was over homework, screen time, getting out the door in the morning, or one of those moments where everyone ends up frustrated and nobody feels heard. Now imagine having a few simple tools that could help those moments go differently. Tools that help build stronger relationships, calm conflict before it escalates, and create better conversations at home. That's what restorative practices are all about. Restorative practices are practical skills that help people communicate better, solve problems together, and repair relationships when things go wrong. They are built around values like respect, fairness, accountability, and listening. But at the heart of it all, it's about connection. At CDI, we work with schools, early years services, youth projects, families and communities, and we see every day how restorative practices can make a real difference. Parents often tell us they feel more connected to their children, more confident handling difficult moments, and better able to really listen and communicate as a family. And the important thing is, this is not about being a perfect parent. It's about finding small, practical ways to build calmer, more respectful relationships at home. I'm really pleased now to introduce Geraldine Conlon, who is going to share how she used restorative practices in her own everyday life to improve relationships with her children. Geraldine is a lifelong community activist and volunteer in Tallaght. She spent years supporting families and strengthening her local community, and she has been involved with CDI for more than 8 years. She is also a CDI Restorative Practices trainer. Through her work with parents, schools, and community groups, and in her own family life, Geraldine has brought restorative practices into real everyday situations. So now, Geraldine is going to share her experience of using restorative practices and the positive difference it has made.
My name is Geraldine Conlon, and I am a mother of 4 and community activist from Glenshane and Tallaght. I have 3 daughters and 1 son. My son is on the autism spectrum, moderate to severe, and is non-verbal. I was first introduced to restorative practice when my children were 10, 8, 7 and 3. I was just starting the assessments of needs process with my son. At the time, I found myself on a journey of self-development, as I was often feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities of motherhood. I was at the point in life where something had to change, and I cannot put into words how positive a change restorative practice brought to my life. I quickly realised how much I could rely on the tools and skills I gained from the Restorative Practice programme in most, if not all, areas of my life. Restorative Practice gave me a safety net as a mother, a way of being rather than simply a way of acting. The format of the Restorative Practice questions and the way they are used gave me a clear blueprint for how to approach my children during times of conflict. It changed my awareness on how I used my words. With practice and persistence, I reached a place where I started listening more to my children, even when I thought I already knew what they were going to say. Eventually, as I consistently practiced, my children started to listen to me. My eldest daughter noticed the changes in me the most, and at times she would push boundaries to see if I would fall back into old patterns of shouting and expecting them to do as they were told just because I said so. This is exactly why I believe restorative practice worked so well for me, because it does not expect perfection. It is in the name. It is a practice you choose, a mindset. I found that when I chose to be restorative in how I approached life, I became more confident in my ability to handle most situations, especially with my children. They naturally responded well and started mirroring my approach. Restorative practice helped me build confidence as a mother because it does not teach a perfect parenting plan. It teaches that if you are willing to try, fail, learn from your mistakes, and try again consistently, you are showing your children that it is okay to make them mistakes, which helps build their confidence too. You will find balance and patience, but not perfection. It does not exist. Restorative practice breeds calmness, and calm really is a superpower. Restorative practices gave me the ability to stop reacting to my children's behaviour and to start responding in a way that showed trust. I learned to listen more before I spoke, And with time, practice and consistency, my children started to trust me. This connection gave me the chance to better understand my children's behaviour. I realised much of the behaviour I was constantly trying to correct was not simply them being bold or disrespectful, it was often them showing me how they were feeling before they had the words or understanding to express it. I got to a point where I no longer needed my children to quieten down before asking what happened. They already knew how I would respond, and they would begin telling me everything without prompting. They would answer every question in one go. They also started listening to each other because they knew they would each get a chance to speak and, most importantly, be listened to. Not only did it help build a solid foundation of trust and respect with my children, it taught me how important clear communication is with kids. It also taught me the importance of taking time to explain my expectations and why I needed them to do certain things, such as sitting quietly or staying close to me. It helped me understand how behaviour can communicate a lot about how a person is feeling without them ever saying a word. I started noticing that my children usually needed something from me when they were acting out. When they were younger, it could be as simple as being hungry. And once they had something to eat, the cranky or mischievous behaviour would stop. As they've grown older, I've noticed that when my daughters are a little bit extra mean to me, it often means they are dealing with their own struggles, friendship drama, boyfriends, school stress, or something else that's going on in their lives. Having restorative practice to fall back on gave me the headspace to pause and take a deep breath, so that when I speak to my children, I can stay calm. I can give them my full attention, and it has helped me to build a beautiful bond with my daughters that I am very deeply thankful for. Using the tools and skills I gained through restorative practice during my parenting journey has been a real eye-opener in understanding how important communication is in recognising what my children need from me. Start with yourself. Change is hard. When you're trying to respond differently to your children, we first need to become comfortable with our own emotions. Remember, restorative practice is a practice. Do not prepare to fail, but do expect that mistakes will happen. As parents, we often forget that we are learning too. We have never done this before. Speak to yourself the same way you would speak to your child when encouraging them to try something new. Nobody is born walking and talking. Listening is a skill. We often assume listening is automatic. If you can hear, you can listen, but it is not that simple. Our minds can become so busy with thoughts and to-do lists that we are not fully present when our children are speaking to us. Often we are listening just to respond, waiting for our turn to talk, offer advice, or to fix the problem. Sometimes we are simply distracted by thoughts of, did I leave the hair straightener plugged in? Or what will I cook for dinner? When you practice active listening, you listen to understand. Once you understand, you ask better questions because you begin to hear the emotions and truth behind what is being said, not just the words themselves. I feel this is the most important thing I have learned on my restorative parenting journey so far. By actively listening to the small things, which are often the big things to my children, I have built a bond based on trust and respect. My children talk to me about what is happening in their lives as they move into adulthood because they trust me. I have consistently tried to respond in a calmer and more level-headed way instead of immediately switching into mammy mode and trying to fix everything. Now I can ask them, do you need me to talk or do you just need me to listen? If you are busy and cannot give your children your full attention, tell them honestly. Ask if you can talk later, but make sure you follow through on the conversation and the conversation still happens. Even if they only wanted to tell you about the funny dog they saw on the street, it is all important.